it's just a game. We'll play the part, but it won't be the same. They have a habit overcharging, forcing the hand into a plea bargain. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion denied. They say they've got so much evidence. Trace DNA is taking precedence over unknown blood found at the scene. I think it's time someone just came clean. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion denied. Been sentenced to death. I'm not a bad guy, not holding my breath. Rather do life than offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion the night, motion the night, motion the night, motion the night. The devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. A photograph fades where the truth once stood. Blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black
All right, everybody, welcome to another Crimes After Dark. It's Friday the 13th, in case you hadn't kind of noticed. And by the way, Dago, I think, is stuck with about like 250,000 people who are out of power in Ohio. Holy shit. Like, I'm just getting, why is Dago not here? There's no reason. There's no reason for that guy not to be here. Why the hell is he not here? But apparently, he's maybe completely out of power. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Did I get a wave backstage? Let me know that you guys actually hear me. Okay, fantastic. All right, we're going to bring our panel up. It's Friday the 13th. We're going to do things a little differently tonight. We're going to kind of just be loose and carefree and fancy free and all those things that you want to say. We will, I'm sure, have a smattering of true crime involved, but we've asked our panelists to all have some kind of creepy story or personal story that relates to something of a creepy nature for Friday the 13th. We might talk about my history growing up with those kind of movies. Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all the classics when I was growing up, the Scream type stuff. Scream was actually a little bit later for me. But anyways, let's get into it and bring up our panelists in the order that they are backstage. So Logan, how are you this evening? Oh, you're muted.
I'm good. How are you?
False start. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you? We just got back in, I think I sat down with 2 minutes to show start because Bronx wanted to go for a walk. And I'm who am I to say no, you know?
By the way, I love that you actually queue yourself up backstage. So when you're not there, I know you're at least coming for the night. So that's awesome. When I was like, I don't care if she's there. I know she's going to be because she's queued up backstage.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, might as well just click the link. It's all right.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that very much. Anything special happen in your world today?
No. Been working lots of overtime. So just
that sucks.
I got to work tomorrow too.
I'm trying to fight not having to go back to work. Like this YouTube thing doesn't pay the bills, you know, and like we're watching our whole life savings dwindle before us. And I'm like, you know what sucks? It's catch-22. I can't keep doing what I'm doing at the pace that I'm doing it and work full time. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Because I feel like I'm working all the time, but yeah. I don't know. Anyways, well, it's good to see you again, and I hope that you brought yourself some kind of spooky story or something to share for this evening. Sure. But yeah, let's get the rest of our crew on. Maybe we'll even get lucky and have Dago show up at some point. I'm already creeped out by backstage. Anyways, let's bring up Robin. How you doing?
Hello. How's everyone this evening?
You look very gothic this evening. You got kind of a dark look on, and
yeah.
I think I've seen you into the What's in your world today? Give us updates on things going on with your side of the country and all those good things.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll give you an update on S. Surgery is still scheduled for next Wednesday. She's feeling a little bit better. She's got the good drugs. So
good.
She's feeling a little better. We made some adjustments to her splint and things today, so that seemed to help. So that's what's going on with SE. So
I'm glad
thanks
to hear
to everyone
that
for all the well wishes and prayers and everything. We appreciate it. So
very cool. Anything else exciting besides work? I know you worked as well, right?
Yep, I worked, and I was excited at I'm excited for tonight. This is Halloween is like my favorite holiday of the year. So anything that can tie in anything spooky, I'm down for. So yeah, I'm
what's
excited.
funny about that too is for those of you who don't know, we have the past couple of nights, and I'm going to do it again tonight. We've been doing some member only lives after we shut down, and every single night it turns to the paranormal lately. Like on our after dark show, when we go to the members only, everybody wants to talk about the paranormal. We talk about the paranormal a lot. So almost it feels like we're just going to have to rehash what we've been talking about after hours or after whatever members only, but we'll get into some new stuff, I'm sure, as well. So we've got JJ, State of the Deep. Let's bring him up. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Hello.
All right.
What's up, denizens?
Living the dream.
I don't know if the meatballs are here, but shout out
I hope
to the
so.
meatballs and the believers and the great mods.
Yeah,
I'm feeling.
I hope his audience is here because he's not anywhere else. I'm betting. I'm betting Dago's not like going live secretly, like double cheating on us. And
no,
you know?
no.
Firing up the generator.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He should
Yeah,
rub some
poor
sticks
guy.
together and get. Oh, so I bet you we're gonna see him before the show ends tonight. So that'll be good.
He's a
Anything special in your
dedicated
world?
man.
He is. He's totally dedicated. What about you? What's going on? Anything special in your world?
Just today, I work Monday through Thursday, and Friday's my errands day. So I'm basically all day just running errands, practice music a little bit today. I could try to at least do that a little bit still.
Yeah.
So I was busy most of the day doing stuff, errands and whatnot.
What instruments do you play? You sing, right? But do you play guitar, and what else do you do? Or?
Yeah, I sing, I play guitar, I play some bass. I've been practicing bass a little bit. I don't really play piano, but I fake it. I like banging out chords on the piano, but I'm not a piano player. I just enjoy doing it just for fun once in a while.
Yeah.
I used to play the drums, but it's been years since I played drums. But yeah, I love the drums. I can't have a drum kit where I'm at. So
your neighbors will get a little irritated, I'm
yeah,
sure.
they're not the most practical instruments to store and lug around. So I wish I could, man. I'd have a drum kit too, and I'd play all the time.
Very cool. Well, it's good to have you on the show, and I hope that the gig season is going to treat you well, and that you're going to make a little extra scratch and all those good things. And hopefully, you get your time in to be able to get your channel up and running. And I know you got good things coming with your new channel that's going to be coming. You haven't started it officially, right?
No, yeah. I'm gonna release it. I have 2 4-day weekends, mid-April, starting on the 17th. So I'm gonna record as many as I can, maybe 3 or 4 episodes when I have that time. So that way I can not be going crazy to have another follow-up episode. And I've just been putting stuff together. I'm not great at keeping all my notes and research organized. So I've been going through years of stuff that I have saved and images and articles and stuff like that. And this weekend, I'm ordering a new webcam because I ordered one and I got it and realized that it doesn't have the sensor on it that I thought it had. It's a smaller sensor.
Yeah.
I basically ordered the wrong one. So I sent it back, and I'm going to order the new one actually probably tonight. So I'll have a new, recording setup.
At least in cameras, size does matter when it comes to the sensor. It does. Size does matter when it comes to the sensor. I mean, that's probably the only thing in the world, but yeah, it does. And the camera that I'm using actually is as a DSLR. I was really big into photography, and I've got a DSLR with a full frame sensor. So they could blow me up on the side of a fucking building with the megapixels and sensor size that I've got. But nobody wants to do that. But the point being is that the sensor size matters, and it helps with the light sensitivity too. The bigger sensor you have, the better you do with the light sensitivity.
And I don't really know that much about webcams. You know a lot more about cameras than I do. And I ordered the Insta360, but I ordered the wrong one. I ordered the lower one because I didn't read the fine print about the sensor size. Yeah. So I'm gonna order the next level up, not the one with the gimbal. Yeah, I don't need the camera to follow me around per se. So I'm going to order you probably know, the Link 2 Pro, which it's Seahawks fan. Nice. So anyway, that's the one that I'm going to order. So I'll have a better camera,
very cool.
That time.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your stuff, and maybe someday I'll come on your show or something like that. And
I'll have you guys all on the show. I'm gonna. Yeah. I already got some pretty big content creators that have agreed to be guests on my show. Just people that I've interacted with on X. Yeah. A couple of really interesting ones. So once I get a few episodes in the can, then I'll see how I want the flow to be, and then I'll start having people on.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you made it, and hopefully we get Dago. Let's get one on here and get a monologue. I'm a little terrified. What the fuck's going on with one there? I mean, I've been seeing this backstage
That's
going,
great.
Mike Myers afro.
that's just that's classic. One you've changed. You've
great.
changed, man.
That's great.
This whole captain thing looks good on you.
That is great.
So yeah. Anyway, so I hear him rustling back there. I don't know what's going on exactly with his workup, but are you there?
Good evening.
You can do your monologue like this. You got some weird ghosting going on there in the back, though. So you got some kind of, I don't know, but I dig
How
it.
is everyone?
Good.
Good.
We're
Good to
very
see you.
good.
It's a somber night.
What? You're creeping me out a little
It was a
bit.
dark and stormy night.
Is that a mix between Chucky and Mike Myers?
Yeah, it's got a Mike Myers feel to it, but yeah,
The
it's mostly
hair.
Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hair though.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got? You got want to give us a recap of your day, or you just want to get into a monologue? What do you got?
The day will end soon.
I don't even know what's
It
going on
is
here.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And the mystery will begin. Are we ready?
That's disturbing.
It is.
It's a little disturbing.
Good evening, everyone. Juliana, Jackson, and my beautiful wife. I love you.
There's a creepy factor to that.
Is
All
it
right.
good to be alive in the den on a Friday night? Good night. We step a little off the beaten path. Most nights, here on Devil's Advocates, we dive deep into a single case, one story, one investigation, one trail of facts that leads us into the darkest corners of human behavior. But tonight is Friday the 13th. And on a night like this, the strange stories have a way of rising to the surface. Tonight, we're opening the door to the curious, the bizarre, and the downright unbelievable corners of the news cycle. The stories that slip past the headlines, the ones that make you pause mid-sentence and ask, wait, how is this real? Because sometimes the truth doesn't just sit in one case file. Sometimes it's scattered across the weird little fragments of the world. Unusual crimes that sound like they came from a movie. Investigations that raise more questions than answers. And headlines so bizarre, you almost assume someone must be joking, but they're not. These are just the strange little moments where reality bends just enough to make you wonder what's really going on beneath the surface. Tonight, we'll explore the odd cases, the bizarre investigations, and the stories you may have completely missed while the world was busy looking somewhere else. Some of them are funny, some of them are strange, and some of them sit right on that uncomfortable line where curiosity and disbelief collide. Because here on Devil's Advocates, we don't just look at the obvious stories. We look at the ones that make people stop and say, hold on, that doesn't sound right. So tonight, take a step with us into the unusual, the unexplained, and the strange little corners of reality that remind us the world is often far stranger than fiction. Bring your curiosity, bring your common sense, and maybe just a little bit of skepticism. Because tonight's episode is Friday the 13th, news of the weird. And if history has taught us anything, it's that the weird stories are sometimes the ones hiding the most interesting truths. This is Devil's Advocates. Let's get into it. Live from New York, it's Friday night.
That's great. Great job.
Well done.
Nicely played, sir. You creeped everybody out. Everybody's a little bit more disturbed now because of you. So I appreciate that very much. Well, how do you beat that for an intro? I don't know.
I don't
That's
know,
pretty good.
but
That's a tough act
I
to
think
follow.
that one was a in a former life he wanted to be a thespian, I believe. He's been really bringing his A game with all the between the movie quotes and now this tonight. That was amazing.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like Split. Like he's got an alter personality, and he's gonna have somebody, I don't know, tied up in his basement and talking creepy to him, and they're like, "Wait a minute, this is the same guy." So, anyways, good to see Michael on the screen with the 1-1's thing. It is open season on the mic. By the way, it's a good opportunity for those out there in the audience as well to maybe join us tonight and share something of your own if you would like. I know that we kind of asked some of our panelists to kind of relate some spooky stories from their past or things that they had as kind of and if we can relate it to true crime, we'll do so, I suppose. But I guess we didn't really ask everybody to make it specifically to true crime. Before we get started, by the way, do you guys know of any off the top of your head famous true crime cases that happened on Friday the 13th? Like anybody recreate a murder on Friday the 13th and went down in history? I can't think of one. Can you guys think of one?
Wasn't Tupac killed on Friday the 13th?
Really? I'm not sure. Well, I'll have to check that out. Although, if so, it wasn't. That was just a shooting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
I'm checking it out right now. It was? You checked it out?
Yep.
You're faster than me?
Friday the 13th, he was shot and killed.
Wow. That's one. You ding 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 ding. Winner chicken dinner. I think you win the award for coming up with one. Tupac Shakur died on Friday the 13th. That's correct. 1996. No, that can't be right. Yes, it could be. 1996. Yeah. September 13th, 1996. Friday the 13th. Wow. Anything else? I can't think of it. Like, what was any horror inspired? Well, to be fair, there were those who were saying the Idaho 4 murders were inspired by the Scream movies, and that was actually like a recreation with a group of people who did it. I did a little video on it. I don't really put a lot of stock into it, but I did a video on it. It was also there was a who was the serial killer that the guy that did a similar murder broke into a place and hacked people up with the knife that was Gaines? Not Gaines. It wasn't Ed Gaines. So it was gosh, God, why am I blanking? And everybody's just staring at me like I'm just leaving me hanging. I can't remember. I did a whole video on it. Now I can't remember the guy's name. Anyways, there was some allegations of that the Idaho 4 that the rules of what were the rules? Remember the rules of Scream? All the horror movie rules? I gotta pull it up.
Oh yeah. I don't remember all the rules, but don't go to the bathroom alone, or
don't
have sex.
Don't have sex. Right? You can't. You always Friday the 13th movies. You always died having sex. You did not want to be the couple going off to go have a quickie in a cabin somewhere. You would just get speared through both of you, and then it would be done.
Exactly.
Yeah. They were always the first to go.
You got no sex, no drugs or alcohol. Never say I'll be right back. Don't split up. Yeah. Don't investigate noises. Check the body.
Yep.
Yep. That was the rules from Scream. That was fun.
You.
By the way, they say that a sneeze is actually like a 1-second orgasm. It actually has the same endorphin effect. So I've tried to sneeze the shit out of myself. It does not work. So just to let you know, I don't think it's the same thing. As much as I've tried, it's not the same.
Alrighty.
I'm glad you tested that.
Yeah.
I
did. I tried. I was like, really, the same endorphin? That's it. I gotta look that up. Anyways, tell us what. So I gotta find that out. Anyways, we came here with stories. Does anybody want to go first with a story of some kind of creepy nature in your past that you want to share? Because we didn't really say what it would have to be related to. So I'm really curious where we're going to go with it. Is it going to be stories of the true or the supernatural or whatever? What do you guys got?
You want real stories?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like
it can be any.
Okay, any story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to go first? I mean, you want us to get right after it with the spooky stories?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got one?
Yeah, I mean, I got a really crazy one. When I was in my early 20s, I actually was dating a girl who lived in Long Island, and I lived in North Jersey. And I drove. We had been just met, and we were dating a little bit, and I drove out to meet her one night in Long Island, and we hung out. She took me to some like local bars and stuff like that. And then I was going to crash at her house, but she came from a big family with traditional parents that were kind of religious. So the father was like, "Oh yeah, Joe can stay, but he's got to stay in the basement." So I'm like, "That's fine with me," rather than driving, an hour and a half or whatever it was home at night. So I basically was sleeping in the basement, and it was like the stairs came down. Like if you looked out, from where the bed was, there was no door. It was just like a side room in the basement that had a bed and stuff in it. And if you just leaned over a little, you could see through the door where the stairs came down at an angle from upstairs, like one long staircase. And I was sleeping in the middle of the night. I got smacked on my chest. Like it literally woke me up out of a dead sleep. And I'll just preface this by saying I'm not a ghost type of person or spirits or any of that, or at least not in the traditional sense. So I get smacked on the chest so hard that I wake right up, and I look out the door, and at the bottom of the stairs, there are ghosts with Civil War uniforms on, those long coats with the triangular hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just going like right at the bottom of the stairs. There was like 4 of them, and they were like going up and down. And then I was like, oh, I'm dreaming. I'm like, this is, I'm still asleep. So I like took a few deep breaths and all right, I'm awake, and then I looked, they were still there.
Whoa.
And I just was like, when you see, I'd never had anything like that happen to me. So what am I going to do? I'm like, if I'm in a dream state or whatever it is, I tried to like test myself to make sure that I'm awake. And sure enough, they were still there. And I just was like, I'm just going to lay down and pretend I didn't see anything, because there's nothing I can do about it. And I just said it. If there's ghosts in this house, they don't seem to be that interested in me other than fucking with me a little bit. And so I laid back down and eventually fell back to sleep. But that was my real life ghost story, and it was freaky.
Wow.
It's funny that you came to the conclusion if they don't bug you, then it must not be, you don't really care that much. I eventually got there, but growing up as a child, I grew up super religious, and I was terrified of things that go bump in the night for the longest time. It took me forever to get to the point where I was like, I don't ever get hurt by any of these things, so why am I so freaked out about it? And so that kind of changed my whole perspective. But
yeah, I tend to think it's this sort of framing of things that we have that, spirits or ghosts are bad. Like I don't look at things. If there are ghosts and spirits, why would you assume that they're bad? So it was wild though, because I check. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't be really seeing this. But like 3 different times I like, I'm like, I'm awake.
Yeah.
And they were still there, as opposed to sometimes you wake up and once you're fully awake, it's, you realize you were dreaming, but those guys were still there.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very cool. Thanks for sharing that story. I don't know what to make of it. Like, it's funny because people have different opinions about what things are. Most people think that stuff like that is people who have passed or whatever. I guess I kind of got to the point that I eventually got to the point that I believe that things exist out there that we can't see. I call them like non-physical entities, and I feel like they have personalities. Like, some of them just like to fuck with people because they know we're scared of it, and so they fuck with people. And then others of them like more communicate in positive ways and stuff like that. But I feel like if they do exist, they've got personalities, and some of them just like to fuck with people that are afraid of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What other stories do we have? Anybody else want to tell a story or an anecdote from your past?
Yeah, I got one from long ago. I don't think I told you the story, but we were talking once, I guess, about the sort of the paranormal kind of stuff in the chats backstage, but I said I was gonna put it in a voice chat or whatever. I never actually did it. So being that you're having a show, I could explain it here.
Awesome.
It's kind of so I'll try to tell the story without being 50 minutes long. A little
Not
tough
your
for
forte,
me.
right?
Yeah. So this goes way back. I was 9 years old, and so I'll just you'll get the paranormal part in a minute when I get to it. So 9 years old. So I was in third grade, and my elementary school was probably like, I guess it was like it was like three to four blocks away. Wasn't really that far. And I usually would just meet up with some other friends on the block, and we would just go and walk to school. So I don't remember the exact date. I know it was slightly after, maybe a week or two after Halloween, and I wasn't feeling too well like this particular day. And this will like be part of the thing that you'll see. So I wasn't feeling that well, and I wasn't gonna go to school. I wasn't someone who really liked, that I normally would skip school or played games or hooky or whatever you want to call. I actually enjoyed going to school. So if I would tell my parents I didn't feel well or what, they would just call the school or give me a note or whatever. They didn't make a big deal about it. So I really wasn't feeling well, and it was like probably maybe like a little after 10 in the morning. Now, school had already started and everything, and something made me still like get out of bed. So I have a 2-floor house. It's a colonial style house, so my bedroom is on the second floor, and I wasn't feeling well. I get up, I get ready, and something like I don't know what it was, but something still like forced me to get out of bed and get ready, go to school. Also, at the time, I had uh, a dog, Bichon. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a Bichon. It's basically like a poodle. Think of like a poodle. It's a little white dog. Couldn't hurt a fly, but would bark your head off. It's like he thinks it's like a pit bull or a German Shepherd, but it's funny. So at that time, a dog was about 3 years old. This is a big part of the story as well. Every day that I would go to school. So now this is like a first or second week in November. So school relative. We obviously start in September, so it's only a few months in. But even the year before, my dog, he wasn't like the greatest. While I was young. It was the first dog that I had. My parents really didn't want me to have a dog. My mom formerly had a shepherd that she was very attached to, and didn't. I always wanted a dog. She wouldn't let me have it, and we had a neighbor that kind of had gotten this dog that like didn't get along with her dog, so she just brought it over one day and said, "Oh, you can, just let the dog stay for like a week, and you know what happens after that." So the dog, so the dog wound up living with us. So every day that I went to school, I was basically the last one to leave the house, and the dog was not like I said, well trained, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was a young kid, so before I would go to school, I would normally downstairs. We had a gate, and I would keep my dog basically locked in. The dog would have access to my kitchen and my kitchen and my den, and inside the den, he had a crate. Okay, and um the crate had like his water bottle on it or whatever, and his bed if he wanted to lay down. And I would do that every day. So I must have. So like I said, he was about 3 years old. So like the prior, I got him when he was like a year and a half, maybe like the whole previous school year, and then now September, October, the week or two into November, like every day I went to school, I would just put the gate up in the kitchen and the den. This particular day, never did it before. Never, I decided to lock him up in his crate before I went to school. I still don't know why, but I did. Also on Fridays, we also had like they call it, I don't know, I don't remember exactly. It was like hobby day or whatever they called it, where they'd let us bring like like a little like video game or some like games with us to school, and it's like a little period during school they'd let us play with it, or you'd share with the other kids. And I had Game Boy in like this case with about like, I don't know, 20, 25 games. And I said I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't feel it being I had to walk to school and whatever. I decided not to bring it with me that day. For some reason, I decided to take Game Boy. I still have it's still in the same gray case. And I hid it. My brother, he was really, really young. He had this toy like wagon that had like, a bunch of baby toys and whatever. And I hid the case underneath this toy wagon in the den. Never did that before. Never. I still don't know why I did it. I go to school, and it's interesting. This particular Friday, so like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, they were having like the local law enforcement was basically coming to the school, just just it's kind of just like in their own way, I guess, kind of telling, I don't remember exactly what he said, but telling, kids about, how, they get the bad guys and whatever and stuff like that. And I remember walking home from school that day, and I see like police cars like all over the place, like all over my, I could see they're like in front of my house. And I get to my house, my mom's like right there at the door, she grabs me, and there's like stuff like thrown all over my house. Like my whole house was like, it was like ransacked. So there were people that broke into my house and burglarized my house. This was like we actually know this was the start at what pushed me into wanting to do law enforcement.
Oh, wow.
Because this other part I'll mention it's not part of the paranormal part, but about 6 months after this incident, my parents got a phone call from this woman who their kids were playing it a lot at the end of their house, like at the end of their block where they live, and found like some, I guess like IDs or like credit cards or stuff that had my parents' names, and it was inside of a pillowcase, like buried in the dirt. So they they called. So my parents went there, and it turned out so. My mom was a special education high school teacher, and she was actually she wound up she used to tutor, and there was like this woman who was like an aide that worked with her, and she had like one or two sons that had some learning issues, and she was basically tutoring them at my house. And when my parents went to this woman's house, well, guess guess where they lived? Directly behind this house that where this woman lived, who with the two sons. And then they said they had gotten like they had the one of the sons had gotten. It's not really a very high end area. I'll put it at that. So the one of the sons had gotten a whole bunch of holiday gifts that year and all this other. So he was involved. And I'll never forget. So I go to the police station with my mom, and this is like where you have your own experience, and I can understand people that they get these emotional things and stuff that kind of it's like kind of scarred in your head, or like you don't forget some of these things. I'm with my mom, and we're waiting to speak to a detective. Now, the pillowcase that was taken, it wasn't a regular white pillowcase. Okay, it had like some weird like blue designs and whatever. So what do you? I mean, it's a good question, but what do you think the detective said to my mom about the pillowcase? See, he goes, I'll never forget. He's like, in the most kind of like arrogant, like cocky way. He's like, how do you know that's your pillowcase?
Well, it's very unique.
Well, it's the design on the pillowcase doesn't match. Yeah, I mean, we're missing a pillowcase, and this is the one that matches the one that we're missing, and IDs were found inside and all shit, but they didn't do anything because they don't. No one was hurt. Nothing. No, there was no one hurt. So there are tons and tons of burglaries and stuff that happens every day that most people don't even know about. But that's that part. But that's not really the paranormal kind of part. But the other part, like I said, so the police basically said because my dog was a noisy little yapper.
Yeah.
And like to jump on your like he didn't bite, he wouldn't hurt a fly. They probably would have like kicked him or thrown him down my basement stairs. But being that he was locked in his crate, I'm sure he was barking a bit, but he can't do anything. He's locked up. But the fact that I locked him in the crate, I hid my Game Boy under the wagon, and like I said, I really wasn't. I wasn't feeling well that day. I was not going to go to school, but something just made me still go. And now you can say like, well, how do you know they would have come in? If I don't know that they would have come in, but there's also a chance. Like I said, my bedroom, there would have been my parents were at work. My bedroom was on the second floor, and what do you do when you're not feeling well? You're like laying in bed. I don't know. Maybe I would have had the TV on. Maybe I wouldn't. I could have been laying in bed, and these guys could have broken right into the house. I might not even be here today if I.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's basically my big.
It's interesting that that's inspired your law enforcement career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I never forget how that detective, how he treated us.
Did you decide I'm never going to be a dick like that guy? Like I'm going to go into law enforcement and do it right, not be a dick like that guy.
Well, I know I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but that's part of my training with the newer cops that come. I always try to make them understand, some of these jobs. So I say like the common people, I'll call it the common people that call the police, everyone thinks that the world is ending because they have to call the police. Okay.
Yeah.
So like you get into a fight with someone, or someone punches you, you get into a dispute over a parking spot, and someone punches you in the face. You call 911. Like everyone thinks the world is ending because they need, they need the police. You have to understand that people are, they don't see the stuff that we see all the time. And this may be like a huge emotional, event that went on for someone. And then on top of that, if there is actually like a really bad or violent crime that happened, like I try to instill in these officers, try to like make it believe that how would you act if this was one of your family members? How would you want a crime scene to be maintained if it was your cousin, if it was your best friend, if it was one of your brother or sister that was murdered in the house? You would want every piece of evidence, to be able to be used. So I sometimes people need to be reminded about some of that, just to let it hit home and sink in. So that's how I've gone about my career. I try to make it a little part of yourself. Like I get paid decently well for my job. I did get a few promotions, but you're not going to be. You don't do my job to become a millionaire. Until like you have you have to be wanting to service this job, or the firefighters, EMS, nurses. Nurses a little different because there is a lot of schooling and stuff. Some people say sometimes nurses are even better than some of the doctors, which is probably true. It takes a special person to be able to service, and Lee, you've said this a bunch of times, and I'll say I'll say it again. I took an oath, and every time when we get promoted, we have to because you're getting like a new position, so you retake the oath. Yeah. Even if someone tells me that they hate my guts and I'm a piece of garbage and whatever, and they spit on my grave, they wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire, I will still come, and I will still, you call 911, I will still be there to help you. Just like anyone else, because that is the oath that I agreed to take. So.
Well, very cool. I'm glad that you do. I mean, that's what we like about you, is you're one of the good ones. That's for sure. I'm curious if the ladies have anything, by the way, for a story that you have to share about some other than Logan's creepy hand behind her in one of the nights. But
thank you, Bianca, for the $5 super chat. All opinions are welcome, kindness and respect only, and foya. Thank you so much, Bianca. Go ahead, Robin, if you have a story.
Hey, Robin, can you give a preamble so I could use the bathroom real quick? Before you start your story.
He wants to hear your story, but he's got to take a leak really bad. Wicked piss.
Okay, I'll do the preamble to it. Go ahead, run, go fast.
Or I could explain the sneeze orgasm before you get your story going.
Sure, yeah.
I did look it up, by the way. So before you get in, see, I'll do this as a preamble.
Go ahead while he's in the bathroom. Go ahead.
Why do they call a sneeze a micro orgasm? Because it's a thing. Here's some comparisons. A sneeze has a sudden buildup and a release. The buildup of pressure in the chest and nasal passages, followed by a sudden explosive release. Orgasm follows the same kind of buildup and physical tension. Nervous system activation. Your autonomic nervous system, that part controlling your involuntary functions. Orgasm also strongly activates your autonomic nervous system. Whole body reflex. Your diaphragm, chest muscles, throat, facial muscles, coordinated muscle contractions also happen during orgasm a lot of times. And the brief pleasure or relief. A moment of relief or mild pleasant sensation after a sneeze leads to a playful comparison. However, scientifically, there really is no real comparison. It does not release oxytocin or endorphins. And so it's just a fun thing. However, here's a fun fact before you get into your story. There is a rare condition called sexually induced sneezing. I had no idea about this. Sexually induced, where some people sneeze when they become sexually aroused. Wouldn't that be great as a tell? You're on a date and she's you're like, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No
I did
guessing
not know.
games anymore.
There's no guessing games about that one. Yeah, like check,
Oh
please.
my gosh.
All right, now you can tell your story.
You guys didn't know you're coming to Sex Ed on Friday the 13th. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Well,
What do you
and
got
I'm
for your
sorry
story?
every one of my background keeps ghosting on me, but maybe that's appropriate.
Right? It's ghosting.
There.
Right. What's
You
wrong with
can't even
ghosting?
see me now. Well,
You're a
that's pretty cool.
disembodied spirit. Yeah.
I am. Okay, so mine is true crime related. It is a true story. It does not begin with blood. It begins with footprints in the snow, not coming from the house, but going to it. So 104 years ago, on March 31st in 1922, at a remote farm in Bavaria called Hinterkaifeck, try saying that 3 times fast,
Yeah.
cut off from town, surrounded by woods, quiet enough at night that you could hear the animals breathing in the barn. 6 people lived there, and something else may have been living there too.
Mhm.
A few days before the murders, the farmer, Andreas Gruber, noticed something strange. Fresh footprints in the snow leading from the forest straight to his house, but none leading back out. Then came the sounds. Footsteps in the attic, keys going missing, a newspaper no one remembered buying, and a maid who suddenly quit, saying the house was haunted. 4 nights later, every person on that farm was dead. One by one, they were drawn into the barn and killed with a farm tool. But what makes this case one of the most disturbing unsolved murders in history isn't just how they died, it's what happened after. Because someone stayed. The animals were fed, meals were eaten, smoke rose from the chimney. For days, the killer lived in that house with them. Tonight,
Weird.
I have a story for you about the Hinterkaifeck murders.
Interesting.
So, like I said, this happened on March 31st of 1922, which was, like I said, 104 years ago. And so the 6 people were Andreas and his wife. I don't know how to. These are German names. Keep in mind. I thought something from across the way would be interesting. So Kazilla Gruber, their widowed daughter Victoria, her children, and my tablet just did something weird. So bear with me. There we go.
Of course, creepy.
Right? Of course. So she had a little 7-year-old girl, and then she also had a little son. He was 3. They in the days leading up to the murders, Andreas, he started seeing all these really unsettling signs. Fresh footprints appeared in the snow leading from the forest to the farmhouse, but never any leading away again. And he could not figure this out. His keys went missing. They found a newspaper that none of them bought. And, so the weapon was called a mattock. It's a farm tool similar to like a one of the big like pickaxes. And so they were found on April the 4th. So this was several days that this killer or potentially killers lived. And even before this happened, they kept hearing all these sounds. And so the thought from the police and other people in the area was that the killer had lived with them for several days before the murders and
Wow,
several days afterward.
that's disturbing.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy stuff. And so there were a lot of the people from the area. They like several of the neighbors had gone over to the farm, but no one was around, which was odd because they were always home. They hadn't showed up to church. So that's kind of what started cluing them in that something was going on. But for several days, people just, the place kept giving everyone the heebie jeebies. So they didn't really go and investigate very much until, finally. They got the police out there and they found them, the family in the barn. They had all been struck in the head, and they were kind of like all lined up together, and they have never discovered who did it. They've never, not till to this day, and we're talking
Great.
104 years
Yeah,
later, and
people in the chat
they
seem to
never
know what
solved
you're
it.
talking about. Yeah, people in the chat seem to know this story too.
Oh,
Interesting.
cool. Very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but yeah, the cows had all been fed and watered. There was a loaf of bread that had been freshly made and cut in the kitchen. The stove had been used. And so, yeah, they were found pretty much buried in the hay. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty creepy that the
Yeah.
killer had lived in the house with them for they're not sure how long, but the maid suddenly, she quit. So
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
she
So
kept,
then,
yeah,
yeah, makes you wonder. Huh.
yeah,
That is interesting. By the way, I noticed, Logan, are you queuing up visuals for your story, or what's going on over there?
Yeah.
nice.
she's
Yay.
she's the only one to come to story time with pictures.
It's the crime that always creeps. It's the creepiest crime in my mind ever. I'm sure people
Yeah.
have heard of it, but it's super creepy. I want to say real quick, thank you, You're Enough, for the super chat. I appreciate
Yeah,
you
yeah.
so
I
much.
saw that go by, and so I did. Yeah, I see. I appreciate that. You waited patiently to be able to say thank you to your gifter. There you have it on screen. So thank you very much for that as well, for supporting everybody on the show. So, all right, you want to tell us? Are you done with your story, Robin, or did you have anything extra to add to it? Okay, all right. Let's go. Let's hear what Bronx has. She's got freaking Bronx tales, I should say. Look, what do you have? You've got queued up assets backstage. This is awesome. I can't wait for that.
Yes. How do I
got to
share
put it
it?
on stage for you. Are you ready for it to go? Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Dyatlov Pass incident, but it's super creepy.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
Okay,
Love
hold on.
that
I'm trying
story.
to get it to stage. Why am I not allowing it to stage? Ugh. No. Remove. Add. Oh my God,
Yeah.
Becky. All right, hold on. There it is. That was it. That was it for a minute. But now we got to get us on here. Which is the best look? This one? All right. Do you want to talk to that from this, or do you want to have a different layout like this? There you go. How about that?
That's good. Yeah. All right. So it's the Dyatlov Pass incident in 1959, and it was a group of hikers. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student. There were 9 hikers. Here are their names. A 10th hiker named Yuri turned back early due to illness, which is why he survived. Most of them were students from some institute I can't pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
The expedition begins. The last photos taken by the hikers look like this.
Cool. Having a good time. All right.
On January 1959, the group began a difficult winter expedition across the northern Urals. They were highly experienced hikers attempting a Category 3 trek, the most difficult type in the Soviet Union or in the Soviet system. Their journals and cameras later revealed they were in good spirits. They joked and took photos. Weather conditions were harsh but manageable. On February 1st, 1959, they pitched their tent on the slope of another word I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
That night, something went terribly wrong. The terrifying discovery when search teams found their camp weeks later, investigators noticed something shocking. Here's the tent. And here's the tent with some victims.
Wow.
Yep.
The tent had been cut open from the inside. Inside were boots, coats, food, cameras, and supplies. But the hikers had fled into the snow barefoot or in socks in temperatures near negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's
Footprints
interesting.
Footprints showed they walked, not ran, down the slope toward the forest. Where the bodies were found, the victims were discovered in 3 separate groups. Under a cedar tree, 2 bodies were found first. They had tried to build a fire. Their hands were burned, suggesting they tried to climb the tree or stay warm. Between the tree and the tent, 3 others were found scattered in the snow. It looked like they were trying to crawl back to the tent, but froze. In a ravine found months later, the last 4 were discovered 75 meters away in a snow ravine. Their injuries were shocking. Investigators reported they had crushed ribs, skull fractures, internal trauma similar to a car crash. Even stranger, one of the victims' tongue was missing. Some clothing showed radiation traces. The official Soviet conclusion, the Soviet investigation closed the case with a cryptic explanation. The hikers died because of a compelling natural force. No one explained what that force was.
Huh. A
If you guys-
compelling natural force. Okay.
If you guys get a second, look up the pictures of the victims. They look wild. I mean, it looks like they were attacked, and it's really bad, but it's really scary.
Wow.
There's
Yeah.
no answer to
Well,
it.
yeah, because the one lady, her tongue was cut out, no reason. That is one of the craziest. That was a great pick, Logan. That is one of the craziest unsolved stories out there. And
That is
just,
crazy. I mean,
oh my
and
gosh,
it's
we watched documentaries and it's fascinating.
really.
Yeah, it
Yes,
gets really deep, and the pictures of the victims
yes,
are insane. It's like,
yes.
no, something did this to them.
Did you see
Yeah.
what it said at the bottom of that? The
Mm-mm.
very
What did it say at the
bottom.
bottom?
It said the modern explanation. It said was a slab avalanche.
It's not an avalanche.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
could see the avalanche for the people that were, busted up, like they'd been hit by a car. But like, how do you explain the ones that, how do you explain the cutting yourself out of the tent from the inside and then walking away
Right.
from your scene and everybody freezing to death in areas? That's the part that's also super mysterious. Like, I was thinking the same thing with the crushed bodies. I was like, well, maybe an avalanche crushed them or a rock or something like that. But you would think that that would have been part of the investigation if they saw signs of an avalanche. But
And
Right.
without like, did they say if the bodies were bloody? Because I was thinking
Nope,
bear attack.
they were not bloody.
Yeah, because
They were
like
not bloody.
if they were, they would be able to tell if it was a bear attack. You know.
Yeah, no.
Twiz even said in the chat, he said, there are some good theories that it was the Russian government that did
Yes.
something to them, but
Yes.
something did something to them.
Well,
For sure.
right, because you don't cut yourself out of a tent if the exits are open. So what
Yeah.
was at the exit that
Mm.
forced
was-
them to have to cut themselves out of the tent?
Yeah.
I mean,
and-
if I'm putting on my hat, here's what I'm thinking. If I'm putting on my hat, somebody amongst the group lost their mind and destroyed their tent, so everyone had to go seek shelter somewhere else. Which is what. So like maybe somebody just freaked out, cut the tent open so that everybody would have no place to sleep, and then groups broke off in different directions to go seek shelter. That would lead to some of the explanations of the slashed up tent and going different directions, but it still leaves a lot of weirdness to that story.
Well,
I
the
mean,
radiation part is really weird.
Yes,
It's like,
Right.
what, were they testing something?
right.
You know, was
That's
the
another
government
theory.
testing shit?
Right, and someone said like maybe the zipper was stuck, so maybe somebody cut out of the tent because their zipper was stuck, and they tried to get out of the tent and they couldn't, so they cut this tent open. But still, like it,
I think they ruled that out, that the zipper was fine.
yeah. Yeah, and the altitudes hallucinations part, like somebody said, like I mean, there's a lot of like if you want to try hard enough, you can. Here's the thing: I found in your life, you can explain away everything. If you're a doubter, you can find an explanation for everything. So if you try hard enough, you'll find some way to explain it away.
But if they were experienced hikers, then they were used to the altitude. I live at high altitude,
and they were.
And yes, if someone doesn't,
they were experienced hikers. Yeah,
if someone's not acclimated,
and they were,
to the altitude, then for sure I could see that maybe happening. But if they were experienced, then
in order to go on this, they were experienced. These students, they had, I don't know, gone on, I don't know how many different like high altitude climbing and stuff like that. So they were all very, very experienced. So it was really weird.
Sounds like a cover up to me. Like the government was testing weapons maybe, and that would have had an impact on people. Like they could have been exposed to radiation, and that would have made them behave erratically and freak out or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
Not that we all have time in our lives, but Defense for Us has a good idea. It would be kind of fun sometime to take a case like that, or the one that Robin shared that had all the mystery, and say, everybody go do your own research and come up with your own theories on what happened here, and then do a show sometime where we all come with our best theories about what we thought happened.
Yes.
Take a famous mystery and say, what do you think happened, and come together. That'd be kind of fun to do something like that sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's trippy, man. Shit like that is really interesting because you get an explanation typically, especially if it's a government giving the explanation, that is probably horse shit, like a lot of official explanations are.
You don't seem to trust the government very much for a guy who works for the CIA. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Trust no one. Only the paranoid survive.
Right. Sounds like the X-Files. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's a good one though. That case right there, Logan, that's a good one because that's trippy shit.
For sure.
It doesn't add up.
And there is a paranormal element to that where people also say that like some of the investigators saw possibly a Yeti and like tracks of something in the snow that was not a bear. It was not, any kind of animal that's native to that area. And it was interesting. What was it? Was that a Mongolian village? There was anyway. But anyway,
It's funny.
Yeah, that's really great. That would be a really good one to do if we were going to do one. That would be excellent.
I noticed Cat's Mojo said that True Detective Night Country. I watched that. True Detective, it does have a lot of shades. And she says, Cat's Mojo she said True Detective Night Country TV was inspired by that true story. And I remember that was the one that was shot in Alaska, and people kept being called out into the wilderness, and froze to death as they would go out, and they were being haunted by something that was drawing them out to their deaths and freeze to death and stuff like that. So I can immediately see some of the similarities if that was based on that story. It's interesting.
Did you guys watch all the True Detective?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I only watched the first one and then the one with Colin Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the second one. I didn't watch the one with Jodie Foster. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah, the one with the Night Country was with Jodie Foster, yeah.
The first one was dark, man.
Yeah, it was.
The first one was the best one.
I love the first one. I thought it was the acting was absolutely phenomenal, and what a dark, just even the way it was all shot, real dark and gray, and
yeah, it was good stuff. It's a good show, and great acting, like you said, and great drama. Very, very cool stuff.
And some of the victims had missing eyes. One had a missing tongue, and another one had missing eyebrows. So
what the hell?
All of the their wounds or whatever they had wrong with them were all different from each other.
Yes,
that's weird.
And but they weren't burned necessarily, or like it was very, the autopsy, what they will release, of course, is very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Very
goes
cool.
deep. Like there's a lot more to it.
I know, and now I want to dig into some of the documentaries made on it and stuff.
You can
Oh
even
my
just
gosh,
go to
they're
Google and
excellent.
look up the pictures of their bodies. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that was 1965?
59.
59. Okay. Very interesting. Huh.
Yeah, there's a lot of documentaries on YouTube about it. So, yep.
All right. Do we want to take any questions from the peanut gallery or get somebody on screen to come join us, or what do we want to do with our time
Sure.
here?
Well,
Send the
you-
link out.
The link.
you said
raise it up
that
and-
didn't wasn't Twiz was supposed to come up.
Oh yeah, Twiz. That's right. We were going to have Twiz, and it's like we have set the stage not for talking about cell phone
Yeah, I know.
cast data. Maybe
I
we
bet
should do it.
Twiz has some creepy stories.
Well, take a Did you send the invite out there for anybody who wants to join us up on screen?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
perfect. Come. Oh, I see it. I just saw it pop up. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff.
Did you guys ever see the movie Frailty?
No, I don't think I did.
I've heard of it, but I never saw it.
It is one of the most low-key, brilliant, spooky movies I've ever seen. It's with
Nice.
Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, and I would highly recommend people see it. But I'll give you without giving anything away. Basically, Bill Paxton and his brother, I think Bill Paxton. Okay, no, he plays the father of these two kids, one of which is Matthew McConaughey, and these crazy. I don't want to say too much. I'll just tell you some of the themes. It's like there's a serial killer element to it, but there's also like a sort of supernatural element to it. It is. I couldn't recommend that movie enough.
I'm on it. I love obscure movies that are really good. So I've got a few myself that I.
It's great. It's not good. It's great. It's like
It's
I
great.
can't believe it wasn't a bigger movie, but it is pretty trippy. So sometimes those movies don't blow up, but it is, man. I can't say too much because then I'm going to give away things that I don't want to give away. Just watch that movie. I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. It is freaking crazy.
So
That
sad
sounds
that Bill
good.
Paxton passed away. He was such a great actor.
He was.
What's it called again?
Frailty.
Oh, that's right. Frailty.
It's man, I watched that movie one night just like, oh, I like Matthew McConaughey. I like Bill Paxton. I didn't think anything of it. I was just kind of killing time. And I was like, whoa, man, that is a tripped out movie.
Here's my pick for an obscure movie not a lot of people have seen. Have you heard of or seen The Endless? Which had a movie called what was it called? Resolution. But the Resolution wasn't very popular, but The Endless is really, really worth watching. It's about a couple of guys that escaped the UFO cult, and they get trapped in this weird fucking reality kind of thing, and it's crazy. And what's really cool for people who are fans of this movie, which is hardly well known, there was a movie made before it called Resolution, and parts of the movie Resolution show up replayed in The Endless. So once you watch The Endless, which is the better of the two movies, it's worth going and watching the first movie and seeing the parts that they put in from the first one and how it overlays. It's really crazy shit, and it's pretty deep. It's one of those movies when you get done, you actually ask yourself, what just happened? And people argue about what just happened at the end of the movie. It's pretty good shit. So,
What's it called? The Endless?
The Endless, yeah.
I'll check it out. Have you guys ever seen? It was like, I don't know if it was Netflix. It might have been Netflix. It was called the Decline.
No, I haven't seen.
It was a French movie. called The Decline, about this survivalist group. Like this guy taught survival to like people. You would pay for this course or whatever, and they're in the mountains on this compound. This guy who's like a survivalist guy, and that movie, man, that's another one. I didn't know what to expect. It's like an indie movie.
Yeah.
And holy shit, man, the shit goes sideways in that movie, man. If you ever want to, it's very like psychological and how people
I love
behave
psychological stuff. Yeah.
under certain conditions.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's another one that I wasn't expecting to be really, really good. I watched it more than once because it's so crazy how it shows basically how people under a certain type of scenario, like crazy conditions that just happen unexpectedly, how people respond to it. And it's a really good one. I like those kind of like psychological type.
Well,
movies.
I want to hear from you, Joe. I want to hear from you if you watch The Endless. I would love to talk with you, talk shop when you get done with it, and have us discuss what you think happened in the film, because it's one of those movies where I really recommend.
Platform? Do you know?
Yeah, I believe it is. I watched it there. Yeah, and it's one of those movies where I really recommend you pay attention to details when you watch it, because it's one of those kind of thinking movies. So, and the guys that directed it star in it. I'm not sure. I can. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, Twiz is backstage.
Oh shit! Well, we got to bring him up.
Yeah, Twiz popped up. Cool.
Give me 1 second here. We can bring him up on stage while I'm looking for this real quick if you want.
Okay.
I'm just looking for where to watch The Endless. Peacock has it. Amazon Prime has it. Yeah, I think I watched it on Amazon Prime. So
okay. Hey, Twiz.
But I think it's worth it if you like obscure thinking movies.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Cool.
And there was one other one real quick about the people who all have the dinner party, and it that was really great. What was it called? Something about a meteor, or a meteor went over the house while everybody's having a dinner party, and weird shit happens in that, and that was really psychological stuff too. I love that. God, I can't remember the name of that movie. Anyways, if I can think of that, I'll show you. So Twiz, what's up? Are you there?
Just chilling.
I see you've got your thumbnail with you got Ann Taylor and Koberger sitting at the table though, don't you?
Yep.
What's going on?
Cyray's in there. Bika Barla's in there. I'm in there.
Oh wow. Are you in there? Are you at the very back or somewhere in that little thing?
I'm the
in the wider shot, probably. Yeah.
I'm on Brian's shoulder.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. So
I like to call it the Avengers pick, like I'm important or something.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm like the Hawkeye of the group. I don't really do much.
But you're always there. So I think last night when we were talking, I tried to get you up on stage. A discussion was breaking out about the timing advance stuff, and I can't remember what it was. It was a new wrinkle where you had corrected somebody and said that's not true. Do you remember what the hell we were talking about that night exactly?
I don't think that was about that. That was that last night or something. Because what I was talking about last night was, so like Steve has been on a couple of different interviews talking about timing advance data.
Okay.
In like the last
maybe
month.
That's what it was
about a month ago.
Yeah.
And he said that they were cross-checking the victim's timing data with Koberger's, his pings, right? Not his timing data. But the issue with that would be, because it sounds like they went back months to, try to prove this stalking angle.
Yeah.
But two of the victims had AT&T. So if they had any of their timing data 7 days before the crime, then they should have been able to get his.
Yeah, and in fact, so now you're bringing it back, because it seemed to me we were discussing the dragnet of 3,000 something phone numbers that they grabbed on the cell phone towers, and whether
3,800
was in that.
Yep.
That was where I thought you corrected somebody and said,
no, that's
in there,
true.
Well,
I forget why, but I don't remember what was wrong about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that as well. Like, because we were talking about whether or not Brian's phone number was in the because they grabbed everybody's cell phone that in the area, and there was like 3,800 and something phone numbers or something like that.
Yes.
And it was, and
I
didn't
think it
have
was a
Kobergers or did have Kobergers.
misconception of how they got that timing data, because it's a geo-fenced area around the house. It's like a half-mile circle around the house. I can't remember what it was now. But
Yeah,
I
me
remember,
neither. Like
I was talking about it. They got like 2 hours. They did this twice, and it's been a long time since I've looked it up, so I'm probably going to get some of this information wrong. But like they got the timing data from like within a half mile of the house between 3 and 5 a.m. or something like that.
I'm going to ask you a question if you remember. I'm having to remember exactly. Steve Gonzalez shocked me not too long ago and I'm trying to remember his exact wording. He basically said something about, we now think maybe one of them were targeted and Kaylee could have been one of them. And
Maddie.
Maddie could have been one. Maddie
is one of the ones that had AT&T.
Yes.
That's why this could be significant.
Right. And he made a comment that he even said, based on timing advance records, we now think that they were targeted and Maddie could have been one of them. I'm like, what the fuck did he just see on timing advance records that makes him believe Maddie and someone else? And who was the other one? Was it Xana, or who was the other one that was targeted?
He didn't say the name, but Xana is the other one with AT&T.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? That's part of the problem with these interviews is like he gives you little nuggets, but he doesn't explain it all. And this is where all the speculation comes from.
And was it Xana and Maddie that were the two that were at the center of the early whole, their families had drug issues and problems and they may have turned on people? And was it specifically Xana and Maddie, or was it some other person? Xana was one of them for sure.
Xana's mom and Maddie's stepmom.
Yeah, so it was Xana and Maddie. So it's interesting that the two, because there was early speculations that they were the target of the house because it was payback for somebody cutting a deal and turning, the Fetty brothers in or something like that, and that maybe the house was attacked because it was payback to the parents for ratting people out and putting them in jail.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you put much stock in that at all?
No.
A man of few words. Nope.
I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't.
Who knows?
I don't think so.
Yeah. But it makes you wonder, though, if the reason why I bring it up is because if those are the two that also are the two that Steve Gonzalez is talking about may have been the targets, it's weird that, I mean, I guess where I'm going with this is the only reason he's saying it is because they had AT&T phones, and because they had AT&T phones or its phone service, they're the only two that he's seen and it also leads to that question. What exactly does he mean based on timing advance records? We think they could have been the target. How would that have anything to do with Koberger?
Well, there's a lot bigger issues with this. From what we've heard from Cy and Ann, Balance didn't map out all of the tower changes, right? So they're basically saying that they don't have a good map of where Brian was going, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of complicated. I don't know how they do it, but without timing data or any other further data, you basically can just see the towers that somebody connects to, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going from tower to tower, you would go on the map and then calculate how far or how long it would take to get from, point A to point B type stuff. So it's hard to do all of that mapping, and especially if you're not going to map all the connections, you're not going to get an accurate map.
It sounded to me like Ann Taylor was calling him on the carpet for lying about 7 minutes of a gap from when they said Koberger lost connection to the cell tower, and that she hinted that if you saw the timing advance records and you put two time points in together, you would see that Koberger was moving away from Moscow towards Walway Park, like he said. and that they just basically deleted the 7 minutes period so you wouldn't see what direction his car was going in. And they even kind of countered that, well, even if you could prove that he was going in that direction, it doesn't mean he couldn't have turned his car around and went back. So they almost kind of conceded that they were trying to hide what direction his car was going in. But I don't know if that's a good summary of what happened there.
That was pretty good, other than they didn't hint at timing advance at all in that. Because what it sounds like is they were just going based off the tower data. So it's been a long time since I've looked at these numbers, but like 252, 254 or something. They said Brian's phone. No, 247.
Yeah, it was 247. Yeah, 247, and they reported it as 250 something or whatever, but actually had lost at 247 or 246 or something like that.
It was 7 minutes after that. So basically what happened was I think he was using data at that time. And the record on his CDR will say 247 to 254 data, and they just left off everything after the 247.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if you mapped it out using the towers, he was going away from Pullman towards the park. It was at least heading away from Moscow, and they're saying that he went to the park. So that's what I assume.
And again, we've talked about this before, but if he was going to Wawaway Park and there was a celestial event that night, which we've talked about was observed over Boise on many cameras, and we've even shown a picture of it, it would have been around the right time to go look for that celestial event. So if he was a stargazer and he was going out to see the celestial event, that would have been the time that I myself would have maybe gone out to go look for that particular event, kind of thing. So it makes plausible sense, but
you can see all the stars down there.
Yeah,
there's zero light pollution.
Yeah, and I can imagine that because I've driven that. Joe and I drove that. There's nothing there. Like there's the only part that actually throws me off though about the Wawaway Park thing is maybe it's just a general proximity, but you can't get into the park at night. They have a gate. They have a gate that closes.
Nope. They don't close that gate.
Well, okay. I
literally drove down there twice, recording it the entire time, and the gate's open. So I just want you to think about this logically, okay?
Yeah.
That's a campground.
Yeah.
Without cell service.
Yeah. Well,
if you're going to lock the gate, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I have a K-bar and I fall on it and I'm at the campground.
How are you going to get help? Right.
Exactly. Why would they lock that gate?
Well, and to be fair, I mean, I just want to clarify for people. The reason why I said it's gated is because when Joe and I drove through there, it was the daytime and there was a sign that said, this is gated after such and such a night. So we didn't drive there at night. I never saw it gated. So to your credit, I mean, we could both be right? Which is that I thought it was gated because it has a gate there and it says it's gated, but whether they really gated it or not, I don't know because I didn't drive by there.
Did you watch the News Nation thing where they had that guy Cody drive down there at night? To be like, oh, the gate's closed. They drove up to the dumpster next to the gate and we're like, oh, the gate's closed. I drove up to the gate and that gate is not closed.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we didn't go there at night, so I didn't look at that. Interesting.
Yeah, they're not locking that gate. I actually talked to the guy that worked there and I was like, you guys don't lock this gate at night, right? I'm like, there's no cell service. Like, how would I get out if I was hurt? And he's like, no.
That's funny. Well, what do you guys the panelists, do you guys want to ask Twiz any questions while he's on here? You guys got some I
do want to point something out that I don't really think people know or understand, maybe, I don't know. But like Cy doesn't even need the timing data to know where Brian was because AT&T has this thing called LogHens, and I don't know exactly what it does, but like AT&T switched right before this from Nilos. That's like their proprietary, basically where they like estimate where the phone is at, right? At special times. And one of the times is when you drive into cell service, AT&T, like if your GPS is turned off, it turns your phone on, gets a reading from your GPS, and then turns your GPS off again. And I would assume as LogHens is like the updated version, it would do something the same, if not the same. Because Cy, like if they didn't have the timing data, I don't really know how Cy would have been like, for sure I know where Brian was. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I want to bring up a question. This brings up an interesting point that I have stated many times, cell phone activity is not proof of life, because like a lot of people are doing the whole, well, Xana was on her phone at such and such, so therefore she has to be alive because and I've said, like, well, cell phone activity is not proof of life. By the same token, however, by the same token, even if someone like Cy Ray could come and say definitively Brian Koberger's phone wasn't in Moscow, would they just say, well, that just means that he was clever enough to send somebody the other direction with his phone, that he was still in Moscow? You can't prove that just because his cell phone wasn't there, that Brian Koberger himself wasn't there. Like, would they just stick with the conviction and say, sorry, this doesn't do shit, even if you can show the phone wasn't there? Maybe he didn't take the phone to the crime scene. He admitted he did it. We had his car there. We know he did it. He said he did it. So even if you can prove his phone wasn't there, who cares? So we must have sent somebody else with his phone somewhere else. Like, will they just stick with the story?
No one has argued that he wasn't with his phone and car all night.
Right.
So, I mean, they could do that, but
yeah, it would be kind of disingenuous.
And they would have
for them
to
to
say
do
he was working with somebody, right?
Right. Exactly. Then there's the slippery slope of, well, if he did that, then who did he send his phone with? And that means somebody knew about it, and there's a co-conspirator.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'd really like to know which tower he connected to at 448 or 4, whatever his phone turns back on or reconnects to service. Because if it's the Clarkson or Lewiston Tower, it's game over in my eyes.
What do you know about the morning after 9 o'clock in the morning when they originally had said Brian Koberger went back to the crime scene to kind of drive by back by it again, and then went back to Pullman again, and then went down to Lewiston Clarkson area, and then later on they backtracked and said, well, he never went back to the crime scene. But
this is the thing. Without any further data, all they know is which towers he connects to.
Yeah.
And they can basically just point to any place on the map covered by that tower and say he was here.
Yep. Yeah,
that's why I like that whole map in the PCA of him leaving Moscow, where it says possible route in big yellow letters on the top right hand corner.
Right. Possible, but it becomes all of a sudden, right.
Like that. They basically what it in the PCA. Payne says that he did it, and I believe him because it's stupid. But he just looked at the tower coverage and said, well, he has to be south of Moscow, so this was the route that he took. Like, they have no evidence to corroborate that map. They just made it. They made Brian fit where they wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Right. And you showed us.
And they wanted to add the third tower. They wanted to use the third tower, but
the third tower wasn't that night. The third tower is like the 22 previous times in Moscow that Brian went there.
Yeah, but Hitler, he wouldn't allow them to use. He said if they're going to use the tower as an argument, that they're going to have a Franks hearing, so he wouldn't allow them to even use it. It's too bad though. We needed many Franks hearings.
I mean, they should have got a Franks hearing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think it's really funny how people believe anything that the state says, because like
right.
Day one, Dylan said, I saw Kaylee scream and run upstairs.
Right.
She was awake. And then they told us all that they were all sleeping.
Sleeping, right. You can't have
the
both.
The whole thing started off with a lie. Why does anyone believe them without evidence? I have seen no evidence to back the state's claim. All I hear is a story.
Yeah. I got a question for the panel. I got sent screenshots. Do you remember the other night when we showed Asgut Industries and her video, the 3D recreation of the stabbings and stuff like that? One of our users, Cat's Mojo, sent screenshots, and it looks like Steve Gonzalez and Pavarotti got into a fight on that thing. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. He did a video responding to.
Yeah.
Pav did a video talking about that.
Yes.
Tell me the deets. I just saw the screenshots of the. And do you want to? Who wants to cover the summary?
Yeah. Well, the main thing is that you've seen I know you don't watch all of his stuff, but you've seen a bunch of his stuff. So Pavarotti he does a lot of research, and I don't agree with everything I know he still thinks everything happened after 4 o'clock.
Right.
I believe maybe something happened after 4, but I have some differences in him. He calls gun rat guy, but he has said in the past that he never said, oh, definitively, like this is 100% that someone was shot. He's brought up the theory about the gunshot or whatever. So Steve is basically kind of, going after him. He's like, you're saying, Kaylee,
call him an idiot for
Kaylee, that she was shot and this and that. And then he's basically arguing back, saying, well, I never said that she was 100% shot. What he further explains is that he said that the butt of the gun, of the rifle or whatever, could be possibly what caused the lines on her face. If she does have lines on her face, we haven't got the full autopsy report yet, so we don't know.
What I thought was interesting about the exchange between, if that really was Steve, I don't know if anybody has confirmed whether that was Steve, but what I thought was interesting about the exchange was that Steve, if that was him, said there are some things that don't make sense in the I forgot what he said in the details. There's some things that don't make sense, but one of them isn't that Kaylee was shot or killed on the second floor and carried upstairs. But it made me for a moment think, well, can Steve actually engage people if he's willing to admit that things don't make sense? I mean, he's almost starting to say, hey, let's talk about it, but he's not, because he's just basically saying, oh, hero worshiping, I hope and again, he made another threat about how Kohberger is going to get killed when he goes to Gen Pop. Rumor has it he's dead man as soon as he goes to Gen Pop. So hope you guys all enjoy your hero getting killed. And I'm like, whatever. But at least for a moment, he almost sounded like he was willing to engage people with the idea that some of the things don't make sense.
But Steve has openly said that the state lied to them, so he knows. I just don't understand. Like, if you know they lied, then why are you believing anything without facts to verify it?
So he's so he's referring to Pav here, and what he says, show me in the court documents where it states that Kaylee was shot and killed downstairs, then carried up to Maddie's room. None of those claims are in the documents. It exists only in your leader's head. Yes, you're in a cult. So he's talking to this other guy, Scott.
About Pavarotti,
and and it's saying who said anything about a shooting.
There's so many issues with this case. Like Steve's talking about, well, they have Brian's DNA at the crime scene. Cool, prove it.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
show me the chain of custody. Show me the chain of custody for that sheath.
They were told not to use the DNA in the trial, and then when Ann Taylor tried to argue about the DNA and make them prove how they doubled the size, they said it's immaterial because we're not going to present the DNA at trial. We've got enough circumstantial evidence. They never intended to use the DNA at the trial, and yet we still have people saying they had his DNA at the trial. They weren't going to use it because they knew it was shit. In my opinion, they knew it was shit, and they weren't going to bring it into court.
It's far worse than that, potentially, of course, right? Because the story from the beginning was, they found the sheath, ISP took it, they tested it in their lab, didn't find anything, sent it to Othram, and then Othram found the DNA. Now we find out that they got that DNA from a swab from MPD, but like the first 3 days, there's no record keeping of that sheath or something. Like, I don't know all the specifics, but like the problem is they can't prove that sheath was taken care of the entire time. They'll never prove who swabbed it. They'll never prove where it was swabbed. So all I'm saying is they could have gone to Brian's apartment and swabbed it.
Right. And Ann Taylor, she was very careful with how she said it, but Ann Taylor all but said, okay, so we won't argue that his DNA is there, but what it doesn't tell you is how it got there. And she was basically hinting that that his DNA was planted. And I think more than the DNA planted there, the evidence saying his DNA was there was planted. It was more of that. It was more of a manipulation of the data to make it look like he was there when it was on sketchy grounds. But
yeah, I mean, it's all a story. It's just a question of whether you can get the jury to believe your story or not, and it doesn't require proof.
Right.
You know?
So
you can look at YouTube.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that believe a lot of stuff that was just factually not true, but somebody said it, so they believe it, and that's basically what you're going to deal with the jury. You know,
Lee. Here's the comment you were talking about. I'll just read it since you referred to it. Says just because two victims were killed together doesn't mean that all or even most of the blood magically becomes blended. Kaylee was fighting back and defending herself. He stuck her in the face multiple times, which is why her blood ended up on his hands, gloves. Then, as he was leaving, he brushed against the door while turned back to make sure they were dead. And on his way out, after killing Xana and Ethan, he left drips on the beer table, which he has to pass by on his way back to the glass sliding door. You all know a body can't aspirate blood that isn't alive. Go ask your Superman hero, can a dead body spray blood or aspirate blood all over the walls, sheets, and sheath without a pulse? So no, Kaylee wasn't carried upstairs after being attacked on the second floor. There are some rather odd evidence pieces in this case, but this isn't one of them. Just like IT engineer having a cloud consulting firm isn't unusual either. You all better hurry up if you want to save your killer. Rumor is he dead once he hits Gen Pop.
Yeah. Who is he referring to as your superhero about?
Pav,
That's
sure.
Pav.
Oh,
Because
okay,
Pav,
okay.
yeah, he has like a superhero costume in the beginning of his thing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So it seems like it probably is him engaging, and it's interesting. I feel like, honestly,
he may. I mean, maybe you know. We don't know. We need more info. Maybe Kaylee, it is possible. Maybe she maybe she did actually die or was killed in Maddie's bedroom. But you can't dispute the blood that, and the problem is if he's saying, the Kaylee's blood got on the beer pong table. Well, if that happened after he killed Xana and Ethan, then you would have a mix of blood. And there's no mix. It's Kaylee's blood by herself.
Well, it didn't make sense either. Like, it would make
the fact
more
that
sense
it's alone, though.
if you tracked Kaylee's blood downstairs before you went to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying based
on the way out.
That's what I'm saying. I agree. I agree with you, but I don't think you can. It's hard to dispute that blood that's on the beer pong table makes me believe. I mean, it's from the forensic, experts from there, from the state, the state's own expert, whatever her name was. I forget her name now. She said that blood came from that wasn't from like sprayed from a weapon. That was from someone actually fighting. But she kind of once she realized that she made a mistake, because the evidence and stuff was renumbered, that it wasn't Xana's blood. When she found out that was Kaylee's blood on the table, then she left out her original conclusion that it was from someone fighting right there. So because all of a sudden now that it's Kaylee's blood, it's not someone fighting. Like she already gave her judgment on what the blood meant. So that it's kind of bullshit because it doesn't match the story now. So now you have to kind of be fugazi with your story.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the issue, really, is because and Taylor said it in open court. Like, they can create a story, right? And that's what happens when you go to juries. I think that's the biggest reason why he took the pleas, because they were scared of the jury, and the corruption, of course, which prevents you from getting a fair and impartial jury. But that has to be why.
I personally wouldn't be worried about a jury if both sides of the story are allowed to be told. But when you've got a courtroom, it's only allowing one side of the story or the very, very minimal of the amount of the story to be told, then I would be afraid of the jury as well, because the jury's not allowed to hear the whole story. They're only allowed to hear the side of the story that makes you look guilty.
And even I think it's Richard Allen. Somebody has said that they know somebody on a jury, and one of the jurors told them that the only reason why they voted to convict was to give the family closure.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't even care whether it's right or not. Somebody needs to give that family closure, so somebody has to go down for it.
I feel really bad for mom and dad, so I'm just gonna, convict anyone.
It's
the jury system is kind of destroyed in a lot of ways.
A lot of people are like
you're
that. They
right.
just
You're
want to
right.
get closure. Yeah.
And
like we could just look at YouTube.
I'd say one of the main. I mean, Lee has covered this. One of the huge things too is the grand jury system. Is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Can you imagine? Like, let's just look at that map in the PCA of Brian's possible route. They're like, yeah, that's the route Brian took, and the people on the jury are just going to be like, okay, because they don't have anything.
They don't understand the science.
To contradict it.
Yeah,
because I'd be like, how did you get that? The other thing is like, so there's a gas station that Brian would have had to drive by leaving the park through Lewiston. So like he had to have been on camera that night, but they waited so long to arrest him that footage was probably already overwritten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Did MPD go down to Lewiston and Clarkston and look for camera footage? I doubt it.
Right. And then the worst part is if they did grab it, and again, it would be illegal, but if they grabbed it and they saw something that would be exculpatory, did they just make sure it didn't happen? Because there's a lot of cases where they just don't allow certain, like, shit, this can't come out. So that just gets lost. The evidence just gets lost. So,
well, they definitely did that in this case too, because like I mentioned, that Lochtbor file, right? That's in Brian's AT&T data. That this was part of the thing where Maury's on the stand was like, well, I put it in a file and I forgot I had it. So they had it on, I think, December 23rd or something when they got Brian's cell data, 2022. And Ann didn't get that until the morning of that hearing that Cy's at on April 30th, 2024. That should show where Brian was. So the whole thing is just wild. Like, I don't understand like how anyone just like, oh well, Brian did it. I'm like, show some proof.
Twiz, I had another question for you. I know you have your connection to Cy Ray, but other than that, I know you pop in sometimes to Dago's thing. Were you in that? You know about the Gabriela Vargas thing with the IGG?
I mean, I know some stuff about it. I wasn't at that hearing though.
Okay, but you know who she is, right?
Yeah.
Is she the one that said don't use the
So Gabriela Vargas, she's the investigative genetic genealogy IGG expert hired by Brian Kohlberger's defense team to challenge the DNA evidence in the Idaho 4 murder case. Right. She testified regarding IGG methods, database policies, and potential false matches. However, her involvement became controversial after the FBI investigated her over alleged inconsistencies in her testimony and sworn declaration. So it's almost like the FBI did like witness tampering. Like the FBI was like bothering her, and then all of a sudden, like she wasn't able, so Ann Taylor was basically arguing that the FBI's interrogation of their expert witness violated Kohlberger's due process rights. It's like another,
they weren't going to invite her back. They just used her for that hearing.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's very possible that they were going to continue to use her and like she got scared because of the FBI or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Because
crazy shit.
Yeah, if she's able to talk, like the info she has also, I think could be used to definitely be used to get BK a new trial or something. So,
well, real quick, we only go usually for about 10 more minutes, and I feel like Logan's people are going to revolt on us if Logan doesn't get to talk. She hasn't for like an hour straight. So before we close, do you have anything at all, Logan, you want to ask or share, or let your people know you still exist at least, maybe?
I don't know. I don't have any questions or anything.
All right. Well, that's fair. I just felt bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you haven't talked for forever, and you've got a whole group of people that are probably like, why am I watching her just sit there and stare at these people?
Well, I guess I wanted to say or ask, just because somebody hits off of a certain tower doesn't necessarily mean that's the closest tower to them, right? Because things can happen, right?
Yeah.
So essentially what will happen if you're like in between two towers is your phone will decide which tower it has the strongest signal to.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the one closest to you, because you could be blocked from by a hill or elevation or something like that and not be getting a great signal from the one closest to you.
Or it could be a tower's full and you have to go off a different tower or, whatever as well, right?
Yeah. There's a really interesting video that's cited on his channel where he's looking at this cell record. Basically what happened was this girl had been missing for a few hours. I think she's like 14, 15, something like that. And her mom got worried and called her, I can't remember if they were still together or they were just breaking up, but called her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, right? And this murder went unsolved. So essentially what happened was the guy murdered that lady's daughter because she told him that she was pregnant or something to make him stay with her or something. I don't know. But when Cy got on this case, he was looking at the cell data and he was just, perplexed because that phone call was just bouncing off towers. There's 4 towers. This phone is just bouncing off of every few seconds. And he was trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
But what had happened was 2 minutes before that kid murdered that lady's daughter. So I asked Cy in the comments, I was like, could you have tracked him to that murder site if that phone call hadn't been made? And he said, not with the call detail records. You need further information to do that. And I was like, oh shit. It just blew my mind. Because that was my whole thing a long time ago was if you're not using the phone actively, on a phone call or texting, it wouldn't show up on the CDRs.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I just, the cell phone stuff, I still am waiting for Cy Ray to be allowed to talk, or if he's going to talk and all these things. And I don't know, other than what you just said, which is I mean, it'd be hard for them if he can say that Brian's phone wasn't there at the time. I would think that would be, grounds to overturn. But again, I begin to wonder if they'll be like, well, no, because he said he did it, so there must be another explanation for why his phone wasn't there, but he was still there. And I just wonder if everybody's desire to put this to bed is just going to override everything, no matter what comes out at some point. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I went through all the drive times from the house to where I think Brian would reconnect. And it would be very hard for the state to argue that if he was down the Clarkston, Lewiston area, that he could get there in time.
You're in that area, right? You live in that area? Yeah. So I want to ask you about an event real quick before we close up. You may have heard me talk about recently. I went back and I was going to actually try to get some footage there. And so I was walking the area, kind of looking at stuff, and a truck came into the neighborhood very quickly. They were immediately rubbernecking on me when they came in on King Road off of Taylor. And then they pulled in to a driveway that I don't think they lived there, and got out and approached me and told me to get the fuck out of the neighborhood. And I to this day, I've been trying to figure out who came chasing me off the neighborhood that doesn't even really live there. Was it Sigma Chi people, or what? Do you have any insight on what that was all about? Because this truck came in, and like I said, those guys were immediately, the 2 guys, their necks were turned around to look for me the second they came in, and they parked and got out of their truck and chased me off and called the police on me. And I'm thinking, what the fuck was that all about? Is there any insight on that kind of attitude? No. So I did have on my chest a chest camera. I was walking around the neighborhood, and so he said, he said, why do you have a chest camera? That's awfully weird, and then he started getting more aggressive and you need to get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here.
Did you let the cops come?
Yeah. So, you didn't hear this story? Yeah. So, I did leave, and I told him, I said, sorry you feel that way, and I left, and he followed me with his buddy on the phone with the police. I got in the car with my wife, and we drove past, and we waved at him as we left the neighborhood. And as we were going towards Greek Row, NPD came at us and flipped a U-ey and followed us. We're running our plates. We saw them running our plates, and they followed us all the way out of town. And I told my wife why they were following us, to get us the quickest route on GPS to Pullman. And so we could just leave Moscow and get on the road to Washington. And shortly after we got on the road heading to Pullman, they broke off and didn't follow us anymore. But
the police let the cops come talk to you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
what
what
law are you breaking? That's public property.
I wasn't breaking the law. Right.
They can't stop you from being there.
Yeah, it was weird.
But I was just
trying to figure out who that kid was that was trying to chase me off.
I
don't know.
Lee, you should be an expert in Terry stops now.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
What law exactly am I breaking by being on public property there, sir?
Right.
And then you could have got the kids in trouble for threatening you. Especially if you have it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, technically he didn't threaten me. He was just being aggressive with the, it's really weird that you got a camera and you don't fucking belong here. And I kind of like in the moment I said, I used to go to school here. He goes, oh yeah, where? And I said, WSU. He goes, this isn't WSU. And I'm like, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, you should have said U of I.
Yeah.
I lived in 1122 King Road like 30 years ago. What are you going to do about it there, sir?
Right. So
I don't know.
I
don't go to Moscow very often.
Yeah.
And I
probably wise.
Don't deal with those people, I've never had a bad experience there, but
yeah.
It's just weird.
Well, and like I said, to be fair, I mean, I wasn't breaking a law, and to be fair, NPD did break off, so they ran my plates apparently and decided that I hadn't done anything wrong, so they did the right thing.
They shouldn't have read your plates anyways.
Right, probably, yeah. And I can't prove that they did, other than he followed us for quite a while. And we could see him talking, so I'm pretty sure they were calling in our plates. But, anyways, Twiz, it was great having you on the show tonight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with the panel now. So thanks for coming
Good
on,
night,
and
everybody.
Take it easy, man.
All right, be well, Twiz.
All right, panelists, let's go around the horn. Robin, 1-1, Logan, JJ, and then I'll close. By the way, I will be doing an extra members only kind of live hanging out just for a little bit, as if anybody shows up. We've had about 20 people that show up after the show, so we'll take a little break and then I'll fire that back up for members only that want to hang out. So let's get closing thoughts for tonight. Robin, what do you got?
Well, thanks for coming out, everyone, to our Friday the 13th, Freaky Friday, whatever you want to call it. It was a lot of fun. We always appreciate it when you hang out with us when we're doing something a little different. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching the chat with all the different spooky stories you guys were telling about various true crime, but also a lot of your personal stories. So that was really cool. And, thanks for all the mods on, both channels for holding down the fort tonight. We appreciate you guys so much. And on both teams, we greatly appreciate you and just love having the entire community, so to speak, with us tonight. And if you're here, I saw a couple of people were here live for the first time. They caught a live for the first time, which is really
that's
awesome.
always cool.
So,
I like it when the people catch the live.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah. So it was someone that said they always watch the replay crew, and we appreciate that so very much. Like I'm always saying, whether you're here live or you are on the replay crew, and hopefully if you're on the replay crew sometime, you'll get to pop in and be like, hey, I'm live with you now tonight. So, but it was a lot of fun tonight. So thanks for all the stories. And one stole the cake with the freaking Michael Meyer with the weirdo hair. So that was great. So so thanks for coming out, everyone, and I hope everyone has a wonderful night. And Dago was very well missed, sir. You were very missed, and I hope you and all the other people that are out of power right now, I hope they get it fixed for you really soon. So hope
it looks like we got a new member, so maybe our new member will come join us tonight on the members only stream afterwards. So
yeah,
very, very cool. Thanks, Katna or Renee. So thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll see you in a little bit on the after show as well. So thank you, Robin, for that. And let's get Michael Myers on screen. What's going on?
Be very afraid.
You need to put some mousse on him or something.
Sleep with one eye open.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah. It's great show. I love these theme shows. If you couldn't tell, I
I tried to really get into it. They're fun to, engage. Just try something different other than just always jumping in. And our true crime is important, but this stuff is important to vent out all these different different ideas and different fun we can have with the show. So I hope the chat enjoyed it, and I hope everyone loves our new panel member that's sitting there.
Yeah, he's kind of growing on me. Yeah, he's kind of growing.
Yeah. He's got some slick
You just
hair.
need some better hair.
Does he have some movie trivia for us tonight?
Yes, I do. Okay, so the hint is I'll give it. I guess follows the theme of tonight's show. So
I was hoping you'd do that. Yeah.
So the devil exists, God exists, and for us as people, our very destiny hinges upon which one we elect to follow.
The devil's advocates?
No.
Candyman.
No.
Wait, say that again, one.
Say the quote.
The devil exists, God exists, and for us as people, our very destiny hinges upon which one we elect to follow.
The prophecy? 7?
The Omen.
Is it 7? No, it couldn't be 7. You just did 7 the other night.
Yeah, it's not.
No clue.
Gosh darn it, man!
I'll give you another. Yep.
Yeah.
You got it. I was just gonna read The Conjuring.
The Conjuring.
Oh, okay.
All right. Fair. That's fair. All right. Well, thank you for you got us a stump. I guess we're not as much horror films as fans as we thought we were because
Logan.
And I don't think you could have given me a quote from any movie other than Nightmare on Elm Street that I would have actually got. So, because is there quotable lines in Friday the 13th? I think the quotable line is "Ah!" I think that was the only quotable line. All right. So, Logan, what do you got for closing thoughts?
I just want to thank you all for being here and always tuning in. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Bianca and Yuri for the supers. We appreciate you so much for sending more towards our FOIA. FOIA activated.
FOIA activated.
Bianca made me a funny video and it said FOIA activated and it was really cute. It was funny. Anyways, thank you guys for showing up. Do something nice for yourself. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Have a safe and wonderful Friday the 13th, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yay. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. And sorry that you didn't get a whole lot of screen time tonight. Or scream time, as the case should be. But anyway, sorry that you didn't get a lot of scream time tonight. And then how about JJ from Save the Deep? What's going on?
All right. Thanks, everybody. It's always fun to kind of go off topic and get into other things. So it was fun. Thank you to the denizens, the meatballs, the believers, and the mods, of course. And if you could send me a link to the members only thing, I got to cook some food after I'm done here. I haven't eaten dinner, so I got to take a break for a while. But if I can, how long are you guys going to be on for?
Usually we've been going for a good hour and a half. So if you can cook some food, come on. I'll try to make sure to send an invite to the link so you can get the backstage link for it. So yeah,
cool.
That'd be great.
Yeah, no, for sure. Once I cook up some food, I would jump on if you guys are still going. But yeah, anyway, it was fun. I like when we go off on tangents. So
it seems like we do that more and more.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you Thank you for coming tonight. And I will close out with my final thoughts. Remember that next week, we're going to try to push the show up by an hour. So we'll start at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Competing with bigger channels, and that might not go well for us, but we'll see. It's going to make it easier for our East Coasters. I don't know if it's going to make it easier for JJ, so hopefully he'll still be able to make it on. I know that sometimes he pushes it right at the edge coming on as it is, and that's an hour later than we're going to be going. So we'll see how that works out in the future. Hopefully we can work all that out. But thank you all for coming tonight and listening to an off the rails kind of thing. We didn't talk a lot of true crime, but we did talk about a really cool, mysterious crime case. That one was it in Russia? It was in Russia, right? And then the other one, where was the other? In Germany? Was the other one in Germany? Those were some interesting true crime type stories. So we did kind of touch on the true crime. And thanks for sharing your stories with us. Everyone, I want to give you, again, a big thanks for everything that you guys are doing, supporting the channel. It's a tough time of year for a lot of us YouTubers. We're kind of getting back in the swing of things, trying to get our channels moving in the right direction because it's really slow time for us. As a last thought, again, please join us on the after show for members only. It's only $3 if you're not a member and you want to come hang out. $3, that's all it costs, and you don't even have to renew every single month. You can just do $3 and quit immediately, and then you can get your month or whatever. So come hang out with us as some of us kind of take a little potty break and a food break or whatever, and we'll be back in at least at the bottom of the hour here. So it's 8 o'clock, 8:08 my time now. We'll be on by 8:30, and hope to see you there. Thanks everybody for coming. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night.
Good night.